Hi, I'm Sandeep, founder and CEO of SimplAI. Welcome to my partner in crime, Manish. He's my co-founder and CRO, and we'll be talking about the Hall of Ages even. SimplAI is nothing but operating system for enterprises Agentic AI, where we take enterprises from pilot to production using orchestration, governance, scales, and business outcomes. We believe enterprises needing thousands of agents. For that, they need an Agentic OS rather than the framework or rather than tool or classified way. We are serving enterprises in a meaningful way. Start from 6-pillar theory is like one is orchestration, security, governance, compliance, scale, and support, and in a meaningful way from the FDE to the platform support. We will be talking today about a person and then thought process around sharing, who has seen the layer of automation across more than decade plus, largely seen from earliest of adoption from, let's say, internet and the cloud and the RPA, and he himself was there in the the scaling of RPAs of the world, and now it's in the AI world, which is like seen it. We'll be talking across all the parts of it, and we'll see how the future holds and why he thinks about it. Welcome, Manish, to this candid ones even. Fantastic. And I've been looking for this for a longer period of time, and we'll be talking about how the era is being moving.
Fantastic.
So if you can just tell us about people who's listening, hey, about you, and whatever that I've been saying, it's very little of you. So please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for the invite here, and beautiful evening in San Francisco. Well, I have seen the evolution of this space altogether. Prior to 2010, it used to be more macro-based automation we used to do on Excels. And then from, say, I would say 10 onwards until 16, it was early stage RPA, we call it, wherein we used to automate work straightforward, rule-based. If you do X, it results into Y, those kind of automations. We have seen the limitations of that. If you change anything on the screen, the automation used to break. It was so fixed, they're so coordinated and all. Then we saw the evolution of RPA as a whole. RPA and then OCR came, wherein the companies got more capability to handle unstructured data to an extent and read also from documents like emails and all those things. We have lived that era as well. Then came, I would say 2020 onwards, until 23, 24, we have seen an era called hyperautomation, wherein RPA got matured, and then we added the capabilities from AI, ML, AI plus ML. We got NLP capabilities to handle more unstructured data, some decision-making capabilities and all, and we have lived through that age. Most of these vendors that you see in the market today, they flourished up to that point, and then now we are, I would say 24 onwards or late 23 onwards, we are in a pure play agentic world. So this is so it doesn't mean that the RPA is dying. RPA is, according to me, RPA is becoming more like infrastructure now, and agentic sits on top of it largely for the decision making, and building autonomous systems, human assisted. Even if you can also do 100% autonomous agents and all. So we live in this era right now. I believe, and I like the concept that you described about SimplAI. Everything what you build, deploy, and govern. I think these are the fundamental of any software systems that we need to have. It's easier to build, but how do you govern it? How do you make it compliant with respect to the industry, with respect to the region, with respect to the country? Very important. Then what do you do around, and how faster it is to deploy it? How faster it is to, orchestrate it? These are the fundamental things that any software vendor would want himself to be surrounded with. I think the 6th theory pillar of SimplAI is the beautiful encapsulation of the agentic, operating system that you described. And I think the world is headed here, according to me, and that's the era we are in. Agents are going to be deployed left and right, and what would actually matter is how soon you convert your POC and pilot into the production. I think that's the key here. And that's where I see most of the traditional companies are struggling. I won't say failing, struggling, you know. And that's the change that I believe SimplAI is bringing to the table.
Now, I think that there are, because you spend at least half a decade towards the RPA, right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
because
So I've been into this early 2015,
yeah.
and then it is my actually 13th year into this area altogether, right from the evolution to where I see the industry today. Yeah, and it's a significant change, but I believe it's a natural change that happens in the industry, yeah, in the technology.
So from both the point of view, from let's say apple to apple comparison,
Yeah.
which might not be happening, let's say, but from your point of view, how these two things hold together, also where you're gonna see that it's gonna be happening. Let's take an example from enterprises point of view. Like let's say where you guys were the beginning of RPA, and you guys scaled up to really massive way in start from category creation to lot of problem you solved.
Yeah, yeah.
Now today seems like the similar type of era if you think
yeah.
from let's say why perspective, and then you going where the adoption has to happen.
Yeah.
Now what these two things looks like to you, and then what all the challenges you see, are the challenges are similar or that gonna be different?
You know what, if I do, for example, the way we used to do claim processing during RPA days, the rules were clearly written, the moment you tweak it, the bots, those days we used to call it bots, the bots wouldn't give you the right output, or it would crack, it would break, okay? And then you have to go back again and see what input has caused this disaster. But now what is happening, the same claims processing in the agentic world is driven by a lot of data that lie behind, and the bots are intelligent enough to make decisions on the fly, because they have a lot of context, and that is a significant game changer for companies, So what it basically does, it reduces the human intervention to a significant extent. It reduces the processing time for the customer satisfaction significantly. So and the scale is humongous, So I think I feel these are the primary changes that is happening if you compare the same business process during RPA days and during agentic days, I feel this is a significant opportunity for companies to build on.
Correct. What do you think the top 3 problem for enterprises? Because I'm comparing today about let's say the RPA to agentic and seeing that what will really gonna hold. So let's say because that time also they were skeptic. What all the challenges they seen, and what do you see, because you're here, so it's like what are the challenges you see today?
The fundamental input during RPA days, especially early on, was it was a newer thing at that point in time, and the enterprises were very skeptical to adopt it, because we were fundamentally working on the straight work or a simple work that a human is doing. We can automate that work for the enterprises and let the human work on more enhanced or more advanced tasks. That was the premise those days, and we worked on those theory, and initially it was difficult to convince the business buyers, why would they do that, but eventually they realized with the time that it is really working well. In many banks and all, we have scaled from a 0 bots to 3,000 bots across Asia Pacific. So we have done that, which has resulted in a lot of savings for the enterprises. But they were straightforward tasks, So, no deviations. With the advancement of hyperautomation and all, we could manage the dynamic screens also with skin scraping and all. But that was it, But the challenge remained there. The scale was always the challenge. But with the period of time, we covered it, and with the advancement of technology also. The governance, especially the governance, the challenges were passing through the software testing within the enterprise, like InfoSec will come into picture, they want to certify it. See, the needs were usually driven by the business those days, during the RPA days. So business was the key driver. Then we used to go and do some POCs and pilots with the business. Then business happy, then they used to send it to the CIO table or InfoSecurity, So that's where we used to get stuck, because they needed software certifications, compliances and all that. I think with the time that also matured, we started seeing faster approval cycle, you know. But those were the initial challenges. I feel in the current age also, though the business buyer has changed, according to me, it's more like a CIO's office or CTO's office or information technology office compared to the business during the RPA days. But I think it will be good to have the early buying. You know, I would say during POC and pilot stage from those buyers, critical buyers, so that when you have proven yourself within the enterprises, you know, when you have done a successful pilot or a POC, you know, then you can just get into a faster deployment and scale your operations, you know, the agenda. I think they are the few things. But everything works around, you know, how well you govern and comply with the existing enterprise.
Now, let's say while you're here, and we'll talk about it more as well. While you're talking to customers, right, especially in, let's say, agentic time, what all similarity percentage you see from, let's say, RP of the world? As I said, we're going to compare, and then we'll talk more into. So what is the, let's say, are they talking the same sense? Are they having more scared or different, or what's got changed, or is it a similar?
You know, you're right. I mean, there's a very valid question. I still say that the basic task, you know, if you're doing it on RPA, don't disturb it. You know, if your business process straightforward, X input, Y output, the best case for RPA, you know, there's no point disturbing that. Where it would matter, you know, for agentic to come into play is you have a complex decision-making system. Your data changes on the fly. You have to refer to huge set of data. You have to refer to models. You have to refer to you know, external sources. You have to connect to a lot of diverse systems, you know, and on the fly, you know, where you need the faster output and based on the input and all. I think those are the places where you also need less of human intervention. You know, you want your agents to work, you know, autonomously. I think those are the places where I would encourage customers to use agentic, you know, agentic AI. Otherwise, please don't disturb your straightforward processes. That's what I believe in.
Correct. Now, let's say while we talking to customers, especially in agentic, is like they are straight away buying in. I mean, like, you know, let's say, hey, take agentic.
Yeah.
Same, I believe that if any technology breakout, let's say RP of the world, like the same. Is it again gonna be the same conversation? Because you've been talking to many customers in agentic era as well.
You know, I think the way the entire space has evolved, you know, agentic AI as a whole, you know, the education, I think, has gone out into the right ears, okay? So while in the RPA, we had to disseminate the information, we had to do all the task of educating people. I don't think that is happening in the AI case because the world is aware of how the changes are happening with the AI, you know. So that effort has considerably reduced, according to me. And so we don't need to do the step 1, 2, 3 in this case, okay? That is taken care of by the innovation in the world. You know, the companies like, you know, all these Anthropic or ChatGPT or OpenAI and all, you know. So they have done that part for us. You know. It's now more about how we can impact their businesses, you know, with the right POC and pilot in the first stage. If that can happen successfully, you know, the first time right, you know, get into an organization, take a use case, do it first time right. I think that is going to have a much larger impact to get into that business and drive it and scale it. That's what I believe in.
Great. So I think let's talk about it. Like, you know, after so many, I mean, from the once you from UI path to scale, and then you gone into the cloud era, then it's like, you know, of course you have your own plan as well, and then back in the business. Now, I mean, how that transition look like from a personal to professional world, and while you jumped into, let's say, the peak of, you know, the agentic, how it looks like and what you're seeing forward.
You know, I come from the era of mainframe processing, okay? It was like IBM AS400 mid-range systems, you know, I used to do early on in late 90s. And then I moved to then happening stack called Java J2E. I used to do a lot of programming those days. So it was a total tech change for me, you know, writing. And then those days we had no editors, no backbone support to, you know, that it will just pop up everything. You just write the basic, everything you have to write line by line. So I come from those days. And then I moved into several consulting roles, product consulting roles and all those, So for me, it was a gradual change from, application development on our hardcore systems to the product consulting, on the B2B systems, wherein we used to connect using a protocol AS1, AS2. I'm not too sure if you heard about it, Is when earlier the B2B network, around the world, say for example, I am an enterprise and I have 100 vendors around the world, how would I communicate securely with them? So we used to have AS1, AS2 protocols within the intranet, to communicate and all. Then I moved to I continued to be in the product consulting space because they evolved. Cloud came in, SaaS came in, all that, and then now we are in the AI age. So for me, it's a gradual change in the last 25 years, and it's been phenomenal journey, and what really mattered is how fast you endorse this change. I think that's more important. People usually get stuck. No, I'm doing this. I don't want to change and all. I think what mattered with me, I just changed with the time. I just changed with the time. When RPA came in, I couldn't believe in that because I thought this is just a matter with a glorified UI. But then I believe the world is liking this. So I need to be part of it. I became part of that journey early on. Fantastic journey with companies like UiPath and Automation Anywhere, and I've seen the growth of those companies. Beautiful experience and all. I think AI is the natural segue, as I said before, from there on. And in between, I kind of kept quiet for a couple of years, and tried also venturing with a cloud management and operations company based out of Seattle, CoreStack. So different experiences and all, but eventually I realized even those days everything is moving towards AI, and this is where today we are. So for me, the change, adaptability, how fast you change is more important, and you have to move with the time if you have to stay relevant with the industry.
So I think very cheesy question now.
Yeah.
Because you've been choosing, it seems, right horses that we have
Maybe
seen.
I'm lucky and I'm lucky with the time, I'm lucky with the companies. I don't know that.
So I think that's question just like, largely for, people, and that some of them might be, those who know you well, I think they might be thinking, why a small company or maybe stealth company would say the SimplAI types? I mean, that's maybe, and maybe people might be looking for these answers. Maybe they've been asking you.
Very, very prominent question, and if you look at my journey last 15 years, and I have also realized it myself, for me, it makes more sense to be with a startup and then be part of the growth journey of the startup than getting into a bigger setup and just doing a monotonous job, and Personally, I want to do that. I enjoy the journey with a small company. I mean, take UiPath. When I joined UiPath, we were less than 30 people worldwide. And when I left, we had I think 4,500 people with $800 odd million of ARR and all. But that journey was phenomenal. Not similar, but close to that was Automation Anywhere journey. And CoreStack also, when I moved in, a small company, less people, then we were part of the growth phase and all. So I, as a person, enjoy that journey. I feel if you can take company from 0 to A to B and to C, I think that's the journey that I enjoy. And when I was after 3 years of sitting quiet and advising companies and the CEOs, when I decided to come back full time into the industry, I got quite a few opportunities to talk to people, all that. But what I was telling, and then some of the VCs were also asking me why are you not getting into a bigger setup and all. I told them I'm meant for maybe A, B, and C kind of companies because I would enjoy that journey. For me, it's so it will give me so much of satisfaction and happiness if I see a company going from A to B to C, in between raising their ARR, becoming a matured or operational organization. And then growing the team. I think I'm made for that. I realized, in the last 15 years, I'm made for such setups, not like a big boys of the world.
Great.
Yeah.
that lead to another question.
Okay.
Largely within the AI world, right?
Yeah.
There are different companies out there, and you could have gone to anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there are, the vertical companies. There are who is doing inference, who is doing model related, who is doing, let's say, some of like what we are doing it also, some of the other stuff. What you were thinking about while talking, and of course the right, everybody is now within the RPAs of the world, people are talking only agentic. So there are companies who is there even. So, and there are other setup as well. So I mean, within that you were peculiar or thinking about it, or what was the thought process?
Very good question, Sandeep. In general, AI has become a de facto word across every companies. Everybody is saying we are doing AI in different shape and form. Okay, so that's a very general theme that we hear nowadays. Even RPA boys have also turned into AI, agentic automation and all. So what mattered to me, is like I was looking at the infra layer, LLM layer, model layer, and then on top the I would call it orchestrating layer, and I think the infra and the model layer is getting, according to me, very near to commoditization. I realize that with so many model companies coming up, infra companies are around and all, it's becoming more like a general thing. What would eventually matter in this space is somebody who is sitting on top, bringing everything together, complying, governing, securing, deploying. I think that would play the key role, because that's one of the reasons why most of these pilots are not being successful. Because people feel that if they use LLM, they can do everything and all, but that's not the case. When you get into the real time, it's a good candidate for failure in the production system. So I decided to be at a place which can make the best use of it, build its own architecture, and make sure that the security, compliance, governance, deployment, orchestration, everything is taken care of, for a customer standpoint. From a customer standpoint, I think those are the companies that would really go in the long run. So that's when when I met you, and our conversation turned into very fast decision making and all, because I realized this is the place which will eventually take the world's attention. That was my core theme.
So this is a one, right? But largely from customer perspective, what's you been running in mind? Because you know that, as I said, again the relatedness, like hey, there are things. So you've seen the automations and adoption, especially the enterprises and large enterprises. Now giving this thesis, what you have been running in mind, and what you were thinking about, hey, we can make it this company a multi-billion dollars, which no matter what, this is what the theory that you're running into your mind.
You know what? I think it is good to go to the places who have adopted RPA to a greater extent, divide their entire RPA deployment into simple and the complex areas, okay? Tell them run simple the way you are running. Now the complex, show them different scenarios around the complex, what you are doing with complex right now and what more you can do with complex scenarios, with the AI in place. I think this is more like an education where we need to engage. See, people are excited about AI, customers are excited about AI, but they are still skeptical about it, whether it's going to work or not, especially when you go to the larger setup, bigger setup and all. So I believe in the foot in the door, do a bit of education, run with them, with their customers, with their partners, or with their in-house deployments, show them confidence by deployment, and I think those bots, those use cases are a good candidate for the AI conversion. That's what I believe from the existing customer point of view. See, most of the big and mid-market enterprises have used RPA in some shape or form, and it's very, you cannot 100% replace RPA in those places because they have invested, and I do not encourage that also, because the simpler cases, there's no point using AI. It's an overkill, Simpler business rules, just continue doing with RPA. Complex rules with a lot of decision making, you can minimize the human intervention, make them more autonomous and all. Those are the use cases that I think we need to go after as a company. And it's easy. it's not, I won't say it's easy, it's not tough as well, you know. It's more about, they know about AI. It's more about how our AI, how our agentic OS can change those processes. It's more about education, I feel right now. The larger education is done by the ecosystem. Yeah.
So what are you thinking today? Because now that's been the past and current. Now at SimplAI, while you're talking to partners, customers, what your approach that you wanna take it up, and how do you see, let's say, in let's divide it in, let's say, a couple of years, or maybe 2 to 5 years down the line within the same company, and then how we gonna get people adopted it? What your strategy would be?
You know, I think if you take, say for example, you take partner, okay? So I believe the partner are the biggest route to reach out to the expanded customer base, okay? So how would I approach a partner is, first of all, my partner needs to be confident, okay? Because they all have heard about AI, they all have about all the AI companies in the world doing different things. So for me, getting the confidence of the partner is very important. So what I would do, I would tell them, I would encourage them to give me a use case, without any commitment. Give me a use case. Let's see the impact of complex use case, not a simple use case. Give me a complex use case that is consuming a lot of resources, lot of people are deployed to manage that. I would create a use case and just prove that with SimplAI operating system software, agentic software, and allow it to run within their premises for some time, so that the critical stakeholders can see that process, how well it is running. I think that is very important, and that is where most of the POCs and pilots are failing with some of these AI companies. And allow it to scale also, within the enterprise. Believe in me, once this confidence is gained, it is just one step away from reaching out to that partner's entire customer base, because they will become our gatekeeper. We don't have to do anything, whether you white level with them or whether you just go and sell with them, co-sell with them, or sell to whatever you want to do, whatever sales motion. But I think that's the very critical step with respect to the partner. That's what I believe in. Yeah.
Now to again, right, while talking to these partners, what are your top learnings, and how we make sure that we'll go deep penetration and hard expanding?
If you look at the entire ecosystem, everyone wants to grow. Essentially, everybody wants to grow, and everybody wants to be with the right technology, with the right time. Okay. So, having said that, AI is the thing of today. Everybody is focused on AI in some shape and form. So, what I would is, it's about, again, going back to the same answer which I gave you last time. It's like you need to, most importantly, you need to have the right business buyer within the customer, within the partner place. Okay, you need to know who is the guy owning this piece of competency within the partner. Is he do they have a separate AI practice running? I think they are the right candidate. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and then he said, I'm a business guy, but I will point you to the guy who is excelling in AI within the enterprise. I think you should talk to that guy. I think that identification is very important. We need to know who within that partner organization excelling into the AI space and all. Once you pinpoint that guy, we have to just go, show him confidence, show him the software.
But how? I mean, sorry to cut you. Yeah. How? Because see, today's noise and signal is like, it's so mixed, where the noise is so much high. Everybody is agentic. It's kind of color where everyone want to be with. Also, like the partners, right? They have they also seen the similar stuff. Then the third would be largely because why they trust you. You are a new player in the town. So again, because cutting it through, what do you think about it?
Okay, so I'll divide that into two parts. The first few partner wins would be largely through relationship, considering our stage of the company, honestly speaking, Believe in me, once that is done, and once the story is told to the world, then your credibility is built into the, in and around. then it is easier for us to sell. So it's about, a chicken and egg situation. You reach out to your known customers, known partners who you have worked in the past, who you have delivered in the past, who they have confidence on you, and then they become your first buyers. Okay,
Yeah.
you go sell it to them, give them confidence, deploy, successfully within them. They become our advocate to the world, and then once we have few of such customers and partners, then I have done the same thing at UiPath, and we were nowhere in the world. Those days I'm talking about, everybody was skeptical to use our software, though we were the best that point in time. So it was my credibility, in the market, because I came from the similar company, a much bigger company those days. And I used to give confidence to the customer. I used to give confidence to the partners. Just use my software. Don't pay me for next 6 months. If you feel confident, call me. I will take you to the next level. So I think this is the journey that every organization has to go through. I would definitely rely on my known friends and partner and customer bases to start with. And then once I have a critical mass, then it becomes easier. Then for me, it's just one step ahead all the time. Yeah,
So from that, I think the few things which is you're clearly just for stating for people. One is you're saying the complex and critical workflow.
Yeah.
Largely you said workflow, which means you are talking about where agents, tools, workflow working in together to solving a complex problem end to end. Not talking about a simple tool or a single agent or solving a problem, which is more critical for any enterprises or organization today, rather than, and that's what most of them are failing. Because how do you do that along with the security, compliance and governance? We have seen it across the board. But largely, let's say that there are too much of things going, right? While you're seeing it, right? Every quarter, every week that there's something comes up into, right? Where things are changing. What are you thinking from that lens and from the customer lens? Because, and then that makes customer also annoyed, right? Because, hey, what is it? I recently just started, adopting, and now it's suddenly a new toy in the town. I mean, just like, because the customer definitely might be asking you, right?
I think that noise across different technical points or technical areas is going to be around for some time.
Yeah.
I honestly feel that, every day you hear a new model coming up, you're doing all that and all, I think I pinpoint it to the place where, and make customer also or partner also understand what basic problem they are trying to solve, and see, everything boils down to the education, right? Education, they will hear the noise, this company is giving the agentic AI in such a low cost or high cost or whatever, these questions are, they were always there actually with respect to any technology, but it is the customer trust and belief in you, and the confidence in you that is going to be at the forefront. I believe in that. Okay, if the customer knows this is a problem, very complex problem that I'm trying to solve, this is the right technology that I have in place, I'm not going to be deterred by the noise that I'm hearing around, this new thing has come up, I think the faster execution of that problem will put the rest of the noise on to the rest. Okay, this is what I believe in the AI age. Okay, the more you delay, to deploy from pilot to the production, that noise will then impact the customer.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Because everybody has got now less patience. Okay, less patience towards towards the production stage of deployment and all. The only critical thing I feel, how fast can you deploy pilot to production before that noise actually hits the customer. Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah. So what's really hold for you, let's say for and I talk about 3 to 5 years, what do you see it?
I think this I call it the digital economy. Okay, it used to be a digital economy earlier also, digital workforce and all those we used to call. But we are getting into an era of...
we call it Agentic Economy, by the way.
So, we are getting into an era of, I would say, smart agentic / digital economy, whatever you want to call it, which will evolve all the time, all the time and will get accurate with the time, with the models being more accurate, with the supporting layer being more accurate, all that with the speed, agility, scalability, everything. I think we are heading towards that. We are heading towards being more autonomous. We are building autonomous agents which can just orchestrate complex tasks, pull data from various data sources, aggregate them, crunch them, make decisions on top of it. I think we are headed towards that world in no time. Okay, but for that to happen in no time, the entire ecosystem has to evolve. Okay, your GPU, CPUs, everything has to kind of evolve with the speed cycles and everything. I think we are headed in that state. Very exciting times. I believe that. And I really want to be part of that exciting time, in the future. Personally, I believe that, yeah.
Okay, I think we are about to end. If you think what you're gonna be in new era that you entered now, what are your goals? If you just it's just a similar kind of rocket, or maybe something that you're gonna say to the enterprises, customer, partners, everyone is out there.
If you really want to know, Sandeep, I would want to see myself working along side by side with a lot of smart agents. I would love that, that time, and for sure the world is also looking for that.
Yeah, I think there are some of them doing. I think some of them,
So smart agents, which takes away a lot of my work from the head, and I just focus on the core task, and the tasks which require human touch.
It's there. I think in secure way you can try with SimplAI now.
Of course,
I think
that's
what you
why.
can start building it.
Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Looking forward, Manish. I think most of you might have a question. I think a lot of question I've been getting about Manish, and I think here is a Manish talking about where the future holds. I think let's make it big.
Thank you.
Looking forward.
Thank you so much, Sandeep. Thank you for